Welcome to Mom Talk, the podcast where we talk about everything that has to do with motherhood. I am so excited and so nervous to do this podcast. I have started this recording so many freaking times tonight. I just don't even know what this episode is. It's my first episode, but there's really just no strategy here. I'm just trying to give an introduction of who I am, where I've been, and where I hope to go with this podcast. So it's kind of all over the place, hence the reason I've started it so many times. But this is my last time. I'm literally not going to start over. So if I just ramble, I'll fix it in post. Okay. Well, welcome to this chaotic mess of a podcast. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing, you know? But first things first, I will introduce myself. My name is Aspen Brooke Bailey. I have been in the world of content creating for the past 6 years. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Mainly I was a YouTube producer, and that was my full-time career for 4 years for a kids YouTube channel called The Tannerites. Um, that was incredible because I knew nothing about social media or the world of YouTube or the power and community that it could build, and I saw it firsthand working for them. Um, I also was able to be a mom while having this dream job of creating uplifting, fun videos for the world, literally. And it was so cool to me, and that's where I learned that I could have a job that I love, a career that I'm passionate about, and still be able to be a mom. And so I had my daughter, and I would work a couple times a week while still being able to be a mom. That's what I loved about it. And then I had this huge opportunity come up to work for one of the top female YouTubers on the platform. And the Tannerites were awesome. They're like, yeah, you have to go. I'm like, I know. God literally put this in my lap, just like He put their job opportunity in my lap. And so I chose to leave the Tannerites and go work for Hope Scope. So I go and work for her, and every day was so inspiring. And just the work and dedication that she would put into that channel to be a light to the world was incredible. And I honestly thought I was going to work for her for the next 5 years. As long as me and my family lived here, I was going to work there. You know, my husband's in medical school. I'll talk about that another time too. But so who knows where we're going to end up in the next few years. But as long as I still was around, I was wanting to work for her. But then, God is just when you are content and happy, he just throws in a curveball. So I really felt like I needed to have another kid. And me and my husband prayed about it, and we're like, yeah, we need to have another kid. Um, so we got pregnant, and then a few months later, yeah, like 10 weeks, I had a miscarriage, and it sucked. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. It was terrible. And honestly, from then on, I have been a completely different person. Um, the way my life has gone is completely different. And from that point on, I just knew that God was giving me that experience so that I could do something far greater than myself with it. Um, but I'm human and I love my job, and I did not want to change or settle. So, long story short, I had started a podcast before, literally like right before I started working for Hope. But then I kind of gave up on it because one, I had no idea what I was doing. I bought the dumbest, cheapest mic on Amazon. I had no lights, I had no equipment. I was filming on my phone. It was terrible, honestly. So I posted like 2 5-minute episodes, and then I never did it again. And then I worked for Hope and it was great and all this stuff. But, God's like, hey, if I ask you to do something, I'm going to ask you again. So then I had this miscarriage and I really felt like a podcast is what I needed to be doing. So then there I was, loving my job and feeling like I needed to do this. So I thought I could do both. And I talked to them and they were so supportive. That's the craziest thing about both of my jobs that I've worked, as YouTube producers for these channels. They're very encouraging of me and who I am. And so they were like, "Yeah, great." And I was like, "Yeah, but I love you guys and I want to work for you still." So we keep going. I start this podcast with my mom. So second time I've tried to start a podcast with my mom. And it was great. And I really wasn't very prayerful about it, and I wasn't as serious about it as I was working for Hope. I like wanted to make sure that was my number one priority, obviously. So after a few episodes with my mom, one, I was trying to be all like super pop culture and trendy and all these things with it, and that's just like not me. So it kind of died off. My mom also lives like 4 hours away from me, so to film with her, it just wasn't being a priority. So then I just kind of stopped and I gave up. Well, then I had my son and I was still working all these things, but I just could not stop this feeling of like, you need to give up something you love and do something that's scary, but trust me, it's gonna be fine. And I just fought that feeling for so long. One, because my job was always to help the creator share their story, share their light. And I was on the other side of the camera. But now God was like, "No, I need you to take all those skills you've learned and be on this side of the camera." And it's actually really overwhelming, like I know what to do because I've been with people and I've seen them do it and all these things. But it's one thing to support and help and lift somebody into that role and have it be them on the line. Does that make sense? Like they are the ones whose face is out there. They're the ones that the public sees. And it's a lot easier to be like, I will be your cheerleader rather than, okay, now I'm going to take my shot. Anyways, long story short, I was working part-time instead of full-time. My roles were shifting. I wasn't like the lead producer. I was more so just like trying to stay on in any role that I could. Um, and at the end, I just knew that I needed to do something else. And it still makes me so sad. But I am here and I'm doing this and I'm so excited about it. So that's how I got here. So this is my third time starting a podcast. Third time's a charm, I really, really hope. And this time I have been way more passionate about it. I've been way more intentional about it. And I really just want to see what God has been prepping me for and leading me for and wanting me to do and where this is going to end up. So that's how the heck I got here. Now I just want to share what to expect from this podcast, from the prep that I've done and the planning. I'm just going to kind of give you an idea of what this can be. And if you love it, share it with your friends because that's how podcasts grow. If you love it, please leave a review. That would mean so much. 5 stars, incredible, because that's how podcasts grow. Okay, so it's called Mom Talk because motherhood is nothing like I thought it would be. Growing up, I always wanted to be a mom, and I still love being a mom. Obviously, I'm making a podcast about motherhood, but there are so many things that I had no idea about. So many, not even trials, but experiences that I have gone through since becoming a mom that I had no idea I was going to face. like loneliness and depression and anxiety through the roof, but also just the lack of pursuing my own aspirations and trying to gain knowledge on everything that I need to know health wise and cooking wise and cleaning wise and entertaining wise. Like, I don't know. Motherhood has just been something that I love more than anything and has been the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. And I just want to shed light on that. I'll talk more about this in my episode where I go deep into my miscarriage. But after that, the main way that I survived my miscarriage was through other moms telling me their story about losing their baby through miscarriage. And that's what sparked this whole desire for a mom community because I was very lucky. I had a whole group of friends who had very similar experiences around me to help me, especially when like my husband's gone at school all the time and my parents are far away. The community of moms that helped me really, I don't know what I would have done if I would have gone through a miscarriage without them. So I was thinking, what about all the moms in the world who don't have a friend group or who are alone, struggling the way that I had for a while? So this is my goal is to create a community where moms can come when you're folding your laundry or doing your dishes or sweeping the floor or you just need 10-minute break for yourself. Get in a bath after you put the kids to bed and turn on this podcast, and I hope you laugh, I hope you cry, and I hope that you feel less alone in motherhood. That is my whole goal with this. Okay, so that being said, what the heck are we going to talk about? I am going to talk about my own motherhood experiences. I want to talk about becoming a first time mom, and I want to talk about miscarriage, but I also want to talk about parenting advice and sleep schedules and what the heck you're supposed to feed your kid and how to not have such an panic attack that they're going to choke while you're feeding them. And I want to talk about medicine and how to help your kid. I want to talk about teaching your kids in ways that are fun and interactive and at what age do you teach them what and like all of these things that I had no idea about until I became a mom and realized I need to learn all of this. So, I'm going to share my experiences, and mainly my experiences are going to be examples of what God taught me through the experience of motherhood. That's all that I really have to share. I'm not hoping to be like an influencer, I guess. Like I don't want this to be like this is what you should do to be a good mom because I have a whole episode coming out next week about being a good mom. That's not my goal. I don't want to be your example in motherhood. I just want to share what God has taught me through motherhood. Okay? Um, then what I am hoping for more than anything is to have my mom friends sit on this couch with me. And I want to ask them their questions through motherhood and their experience and their ups and downs and gain their knowledge, and I want to share it with all of you. I really want it to be a very open, diverse podcast. I want to talk about a natural birth and have my friend who went through a natural birth share her story. I want to talk about what it's like going from 2 kids to 3 kids and the truth behind being outnumbered now. But I only have 2 kids, so I want to interview my friends who have 3 kids, or even going from 3 kids to 4 kids and ask them what has helped the transition. How do you help the kids who are still home thrive while you're taking care of a new baby? Like But I don't know that experience. So I don't have any advice to share on that. But I do have friends that have gone through that and I know their story is important. I want to ask them, I want to have them share. And ultimately, this would be so cool is if I could talk with you guys about your experience. I think the reason I love YouTube producing and why I love content creating and filmmaking is because I love people's stories. I almost named this podcast Story Time because, moms, you do story time and all stuff, and then I'm sharing stories. Um, but Mom Talk is just more pop culture trendy and easy. Anyways, that was such a side note, but I am so passionate about people's stories and people telling their stories and just having a connection through motherhood of like, yeah, I can totally understand because I'm also a mother, but at the same time, I don't know what your motherhood journey is like. I just know what mine is like, and I want to learn from you. And we can have similarities and bond through that, but also I want to learn from you so that I can become a better mom and I can feel less alone in motherhood because it can be really lonely and it can be really scary, and it doesn't have to be done alone. Wow, I just got hyped on that. So as soon as I convince people to be interviewed, and then this grows and I figure out how I can interview you listening, whoever wants to share their mom story, I would absolutely love that. Okay? So that's like the goal. I'm going to share my story. Then I'm going to interview people for their story. I would love to hear your stories. But then this is like my dream. Because today, not today when I'm filming, but the day that this podcast is going out is on my 27th birthday. Because I figured what better gift could I give myself than publishing my podcast and really jumping full in on this. So it's my birthday. um, Again, if you want to leave a review as a birthday present, that would be amazing. And share it with your friends. Thanks so much. But all seriousness, my goal is to work so hard at this and post every single week and really do what God wants me to do and share the stories that God wants me to share. And then in a year from now, I hope that it can be this community of moms where we don't feel alone and we can support one another and thrive with one another. And then I want to have a birthday party slash party birthday anniversary of starting the podcast with all of the moms that listen to the podcast. Obviously, all the ones that it's possible to have them come. And I just want to do events and bring moms together to talk with one another and share their stories and make connections and friendships. And at the end of the day, not every mom is going to be best friends with every other mom. And different parenting styles exist for a reason. But I want to create a community and events. That's my goal. I love throwing a party. I love a themed planned party. So that's my goal is to like create events yearly, quarterly, monthly. Just kidding. I don't think I could do monthly. But do these events that bring moms together that we can bond and make friends and support one another. And oh, you're a mom whose child is diagnosed with this sickness. I also am a mom going through that same thing. Let's bond and be together. Like I want to bring and create and foster a community of moms that can help moms. And we can just talk all together. I don't know. That's just what I've been dreaming of and praying of. And that's what I feel like God wants me to do. So I hope and pray and manifest this to everybody that that's where this podcast goes. And this time, I am not going to give up. It is currently March when I'm filming these, but I'm launching in May because I have made it a goal to have 10 episodes filmed. and then post. So I have at least 10 weeks in the pipeline. Okay. So please subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts. Hit that follow. I am so grateful that you listened to this chaos of an episode where I just poured my heart out and manifested what I hope this can be. And if you resonated with it, I can't wait to chat every single week with you. And just know that being a mom is the best and the hardest thing. And it can be both. And you don't have to do it alone. You were never meant to do it alone. So thanks for chatting with me, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.